Everyone, I hope you're well. Welcome to my channel. If you've not been here before, it's where I talk about twin flame process, twin flame consciousness. And this is going to be an update to the last video I put out. I'm going to just talk about my process a little bit, what I've discovered this week in terms of the whole process. That's for everyone. And then I'll do some cards as well to see what else they have to say. So just to recap, so last video that I put out, I was told I was given the date the 17th of October, actually in relation to somebody's baby that's about to be born. But I talked about in the video how I feel like that whole process of rebirth is also to do with twin flame reunion for me and maybe for some others that watched me for a long while. So since that, I've had lots more information come in and I've had a really crazy week. So I just want to just kind of go through the week and let you know what happened and how crazy it's been. So the first thing is on the 10th, I was given clear instructions to beautify my home. So that was basically corresponding to the Ten of Cups. And it was not really big things, it was just little things. Bit of cleaning, bit of tidying up, bit of reorganising, bit of putting up some fairy lights, that kind of stuff. Nothing major, just little bits and pieces. At the same time, I had basically did that in the morning, and then when it got to the afternoon, I had loads of pain start in my physical body. So I've had feeling like I'm going to vomit, feeling like I'm going to cry, shooting pains through my head, headaches in the morning. This is all week as well. Headaches in the morning when I've been waking up, aching, like big aching, big muscle group aching. And also aching in just tiny little spots, like suddenly, for example, a knuckle will start pinging, like aching, like crazy. So that started on the 10th as well in the afternoon. I had to basically just stop what I was doing and lie down. Then on the 11th, this is really crazy, right? So actually funny as well now looking back on it. So what happened was I went out to the shops, I think, or something, and then I got in and I knew I was going to drink wine. So sometimes it just comes over me like I know I'm going to be drinking quite a lot of wine. So I started drinking and it was all good and feeling really good and everything feels good. And I was remember saying to myself, I just love my life. I'm so happy. I've never been this happy. I love where I live. I love it all. So I know all the resistance has gone to everything that I found uncomfortable in my present moment situation. But despite that, what happened was after a few drinks, all this stuff came up around my mum. And it really is funny because it just comes out of nowhere, right? So I started crying, like buckets and buckets crying. And there was one particular incident in my childhood that I was focused on, which I won't go into, which is something that has always sat there in terms of my consciousness. But I'd never really pinpointed it as a huge, big deal. But it turns out that it needed to be cleared. So I started to focus on that and reframe that as it was basically something where I was told I was a bad person. I was only 11. And I had to reframe that whole thing, that whole ordeal basically, and turn that around. So it's like, no, I'm not a bad person. I never was a bad person. Whatever, you know. So I went into that in a big way. But the weirdest thing was, and I think I mentioned it before, I'm not sure if I've mentioned it before, I'm going to talk about it now, is that Charlie the cat, who's the cat that's made friends with me, and we've been really good friends for about a year, likes to have his eyes stroked. When I stroke his eyes, he does this thing with his paws like he's making puddings, which is what baby cats do on their mums when they're getting the milk out. So he starts doing that. And they also do it, you know, the mum will be licking her face as they're getting the milk out. So he does it when I stroke his eyes. So it was when I was crying, I found myself, and I actually kind of in and out of consciousness as I was, you know, because I was a bit drunk, found myself lying on my side on my bed, which is exactly the position that Charlie lies in on the ground when I stroke his eyes. And I was lying on my bed. And what I do when I taking time out is I put socks on my hands with hand cream underneath because I get really dry hands in the winter and the autumn. Dry skin, you know, it just feels, I don't like the way it feels. So I had these socks on my hands and I was lying on my bed and I came to and I was making cat paws like that. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like now Charlie. So I was doing his thing, right? So what was clearing, I guess, is he's got this thing, he does this because he was obviously either abandoned or rejected by his mother and didn't get enough of that attention when he was a kitten. So I was basically doing that, the same thing. So the weirdest thing was then I woke up the next morning feeling good again. So it's like nothing had happened, just, I hadn't even been there for that. I felt good again, and I was laughing about the fact that I'd done it because I'm in a feeling good, right? And it had just come out of nowhere. And then when I went down and I stroked Charlie that day, because it's every day we'd go through this ritual, um, he started to kind of pull away from me and was wiping his own paws over his own eyes. So I just noticed it and I was like, oh, it's kind of like he's, whatever it is that he's, missed, he's now coming to terms with, and he's becoming like more like an adult cat in that he's doing it himself instead of wanting me to do it. So that was really curious. So that was on the 12th. Again, that afternoon, all the aching came on, like every single muscle, bone, joint in my head, feeling like vomiting, feeling like crying coming up, all this stuff. So I've only been able to function in the week during the mornings and not in the afternoons at all. Then the next day was basically the same. So all right in the morning, did a few things, and then drank in the afternoon to get rid of the pain, basically. I had CBD and I drank to get rid of the pain that was in my physical body and kind of put myself, it's like just take myself out of body, help myself be out of body instead of in body, because it was too painful to be in a physical body. And then this is another really weird thing that happened. 14th, right? So that night on the 13th, I went to bed. I woke up at 1 a.m. on the 14th with my to-do list in my head. And one of the things on my to-do list that I've been meaning to get done and have just been putting off because it's so unpleasant is my tax return. And I woke up at 1 a.m. with my to-do list in my head and I couldn't get back to sleep. At 3 a.m. I got out of bed, I came downstairs and I filed my tax return. And I just did it kind of out of body as well. So I was just like going through these questions because it's done online. I never understand barely any of the questions they ask. And so you have to click on this little information logo that tells you what they're talking about, and then it gives you a better idea. The only thing that I know is to put in the money that I've taken in, right, and the money that's gone out, and that's it. I don't understand a lot of the other stuff. I'm like, blah. I don't want to know. I'm not interested, So I kind of just try and get through it as quick as possible. So I was kind of half awake and I was just going through it. I got to some questions, and unusually, they had no information logo. So these questions, I couldn't understand what the hell they were talking about. And there was no way for me to find out what they were talking about. And it was completely confusing. And I'd already done my cards when I got out of bed. And they told me clearing confusion. So I knew I was going to be clearing confusion in my twin flame connection. And the confusion came up as represented by these questions in the tax return. So I just eventually, something snapped, clarity came, and I put something in that box. I literally can't remember what I put in that box. And then I got to the point where I was able to click send and I sent it off and that was it. And I went back to bed at 6 a.m. Got up feeling like I'd had jet lag because obviously I'd disturbed, interrupting my circadian rhythm by getting up at 3 and doing that. So I felt really out of it all day, really knackered again, really aching. Knackered is tired in English, by the way. Really achy again, all the pain coming through. When I got up in the morning, I had a message from the tax people. So I first of all went into I felt all this panic and anxiety coming up in relation to that, even though I knew everything was going to be all right ultimately, because I've cleared through so much. The whole process is about clearing through the dark to the light. But you still got this, what you got is your remembrance, right, of things coming up in your physical environment that are a representation of dark energy, so really negative stuff. So the whole process of clearing, right, when you're clearing all that stuff and you're actually faced with things going on in your physical life, like, for example, the moment I was defrauded out of loads of money and the fear and the panic in relation to that, because it was a negative outcome in terms of it happened, something really bad happened. And I felt it coming and I knew it was coming, and then it happened and it materialised into the physical world as a representation of negativity, dark energy, whatever, low vibration. So I've got this remembrance of that. So I sat for a while in a chair, just feeling all this pain and anxiety and panic. and tightness in the heart and the chest because of having to look at this email that had been sent to me. And when I clicked on the email, it just was like nothing was there. It was like, it was just a representation of the light, basically. So it's giving me back what I needed from that tax return, which was like nothing to do, hardly anything to pay, and da 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 da, and la 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 la, and just a really good, outcome in that. So that was interesting. And then in the afternoon again, all the aching came on even more. Basically, that day I did nothing because, like I say, I had this jet lag thing from being up all night. 15th, what is it today, by the way? I think it's the 16th. Let me just check. Yes, it is, because it's Saturday. On the 15th. Yes, well, that was the 15th. That was yesterday morning. Was it? Oh, I don't know. I'm getting a bit confused about timing. It doesn't matter anyway, really. Just it was all crazy all week. And morning I went downstairs and I was stroking Charlie on his head, and he was purring, and I've never heard him purr before. He doesn't purr. Sometimes he gets close to it, but this was like full on, that really loud cat purring. So it's like Charlie's feeling good has gone right up. Charlie being the representation of the masculine energy, basically taking the place of my twin. And just to mention as well, and to remind people, I was told about 3-4 years ago, when I asked a psychic outside of myself, what do I need to do to heal this thing between me and my twin? She said, they're showing me a picture of you stroking his head, or you holding your hands over his head. So it's like Charlie's coming in as a representation of that. 2 other really interesting things, 4 interesting things, 5 interesting things. I've now got only creative things on my to-do list to do. So things that are like, I've got some sewing to do, some planting in the garden, and some making some wax melts with some essential oils. So I've only got these nice things left to do. I don't have anything like horrible like taxes or looking at, there was some other things that I had to do that were boring and drudgery that got out of the way this week. So the board's cleared, right? And the board, interestingly, this is the other 4 interesting things. So firstly, I did 2 readings this week for people, individual readings, videos. In both of them, what came up was talking about how they're going to meet somebody, and when they do, they're going to light up. So it's like I was shown this like Vegas, right? And like, when all the jackpot, you hit the jackpot and all the lights go off and it's ping, 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 ring, 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 and it's like, all these lights flashing. So they kind of showed me that in these readings that I did, telling these people they were going to light up when they met the one, or when this person came in. It was different for both of them, slightly different, but it was the same imagery they used for me. So that was just what happened in the readings. And then the other thing is that yesterday, this is what happened yesterday. So yesterday I was just casually sitting down on the sofa because, that's all I've been able to do because I've got all this aching and stuff. And one of the things that's been running through my head with all this aching, because when you go into like, they've got this pain coming through your physical body, and it kind of takes you out of higher self, as in that you're so in your physical body and feeling all that it's just uncomfortable, and it takes you away from your feeling good. So when I'm coming down into low vibration, because I'm having to focus because I'm having to feel this stuff coming through, I'm taken away from higher self a little bit because of that. And one of the things going through my head was, I wonder if I got COVID. Is this what COVID's like? But of course, higher self's saying, no, you haven't got COVID. It's energetic. It's an energetic thing. But this was running through all week, right? And I kept coming back to it. I wonder if I've got COVID. And higher self's like, no, it's it's energy coming through, So I was like, oh, yeah, of course it is. Yeah. And then yesterday I was just sitting down on the sofa, and what happened was, and this is after I'd done these 2 readings, which I did early in the week, on the morning when I could manage it, is they said to me, Pleiadian energy coming through said to me, your motherboard is changing. You are recreating your motherboard, right? So, people talk about light body. So what your light body is, it's like, it is basically every part of your physical body is a representation of your energy, and your the divine love process. So the twin flame process is of turning something that is not earthly, something that's kind of out of body, something that is purely energetic, that is vibrational. It's about you manifesting that into the physical environment, and how it manifests is through everything. So it manifests through your brain, your mind, your thought, your emotions, your energy, body, and your physical body is a representation of all of that. So all these pains and headaches, and even the crying and the feeling coming up like that and the wanting to vomit, it's basically your motherboard changing. So you're your motherboard being renewed. That's what they said to me, motherboard being renewed. So it's just, that's the process that happens so that you're able to manifest the divine love into the physical realm. So at the point of manifestation of that, so at the end of your twin flame process, you will feel so much pain coming through your physical body and your mind and your heart, right? So that's what they told me. So you're basically getting ready to light up, like in the jackpot thing. The other really crazy thing is, when I talked in the other video and I talked about the conversation that I had with the old friend of mine, and I didn't go into it too much detail, he's got highly narcissistic syndrome. You know, he comes out with all this narcissistic jargon and stuff and ways of behaving, and it's, you know, I laugh at it now because you've got to laugh and love everything, right? But and with this connection that we have, so one of the things, this is just funny, that he's always saying we have this really strong connection, and the thing is, he doesn't even know what it is. And it's so different than what he thinks it is because obviously the connection is that he brings me this narcissism, and for me to like hold my vibration and reflection to it, and he wouldn't even understand that if I tried to explain it to him. So that's funny. We used to be DJ partners in Clubland in London and we used to like try to recreate the sounds of Studio 54 and all this kind of stuff. During that conversation I had with him last week that went on for nearly 3 hours, I was in and out of consciousness. That's why it went on for so long, because I'd already had about 4 glasses of wine to bring this experience in with him, so that I would be out of body for a lot of it, because I couldn't have done it if I was in body. I had to be kind of partly removed from my physical experience to be able to go through that conversation with him. One of the things that kept happening, actually the first thing that I said to him was, I'd been listening to this song a lot by the Tramps, and it was one of the songs we used to play, and it's called Disco Inferno. And one of the things I said to him was, well, I actually screamed it at him. I said, do you remember the line out of this song when he sings satisfaction? And this man in the song, he sings it with like such full force of like satisfaction. And satisfaction is one of the things they talk about in the law of attraction, right? The Pleiadians, the Abrahams, they talk about your feeling of satisfaction. So I'd been singing this song to myself and playing this song a lot the week previous to this conversation with him, and even now, right? And I just want to tell you the lyrics to this song. So it's so funny how like everything in your life that's particular to you is a representation of what you're going through. So they talked you through everything, right? You know that, talked you through songs. But it's so like, it's just so crazy. So basically, in that song, not only does he sing satisfaction, came in a chain reaction, I couldn't get enough, so I had to self-destruct. Right, so it's like the recreation, right? Chain reaction. It's like all this pinging through your physical body of the pain, and in the emotional body and in the mental body, the chain reaction. Couldn't get enough, because you can't be enough, right? As you are, you've got to get more. So you've got to self-destruct. So it's the recreating of your motherboard. And then later in that song, they sing just a lot, I can't remember all of it, they sing burn this mother down. So it's like the whole song that I've been given that's playing through my head repeatedly this week, last week, is that. The other one that's really funny is the song, and it's sung by Alison Crowe, and I only came across this recently, and it's Viva Las Vegas, and the way she sings it, honestly, it does something to me viscerally. It goes right into my heart. If you've not heard her sing it, then I recommend hearing her sing it, because it's Richard Cheese and Alison Crowe, but her voice does something to me vibrationally, because it just hits right home in my heart centre and opens that right up, because she's just amazing the way she sings it. But Viva Las Vegas, right, and just the lines out of that as well. Bright light city, so that's your motherboard. Gonna set my soul on fire. So that's like you're waking up to the physical experience of your divine love program, the divine love motherboard, right? You're opening that up in your physical body. So that as well, that song was coming in all this week and all last week. And I've honestly, I don't know about my neighbours, but I've been playing it so loudly sometimes, just like at full volume, because I can't get enough of it and I can't get enough of the sound of it and those lyrics and everything. So yeah, so I just wanted to share all of that. So basically, it's about the recreation of the motherboard, which is your light body, which is getting you ready to bring this divine union into the physical dimension. The representation of the divine union is everything being cleared, right? So nothing of the ego will exist in that physical union. So it means that once it comes in the physical, once you're truly ready for it, it's just going to be smooth sailing in the physical environment. So you won't have to deal with any of the issues that ever came up inside of yourself in regard to that person. That person won't have to deal with any of the issues that came up inside of them in regard to you. Not only that, because it's about law of attraction, about how you're manifesting on a higher level in a physical environment. Once you come into the physical union, it means that both of you are cleared and ready for takeoff in terms of how you're going to manifest your new life in the physical environment. Because I can tell you this, when you come together, you're going to be moving to different locations. You're going to be set in different locations around the world for the work that you're going to need to do, which is vibrational work. The other thing that they talk about with that is how they talked to me ages ago, right, about so I just got to take a deep breath. Twins renewing physically, so about your becoming young again. So this whole renewal of your motherboard is also about you becoming young again. So it's about a feeling, right? And it's about law of attraction, because once you're feeling good, and once you're in the position to then manifest from that feeling good anything into the physical world, you can manifest your own youth back. So, and all this clearing that comes through your physical body of all this pain, and clearing anything from your physical body. For example, what I had last night is old injuries on the whole right side of my body coming up again, in my hip, the back of my leg, my ankle, my right shoulder, the back of my right neck. All this stuff is from other things that I've done in my life, like teaching yoga, exercising, riding my bicycle, decorating, overusing my body at certain times. All that came up last night to be cleared again. So everything that you've ever felt is going to come up. Everything that's ever been pain is going to come up, both and emotionally as well. So like with the taxes, it was just, again, revisiting what does panic and anxiety, that panic anxiety is in the heart, and bringing that up and viewing that and letting that go. And, and I sat there and I let it come up, and then I went and looked at that email and everything was fine in the email. So, but yeah, basically you're renewing your motherboard, but that is your energy, and that's your energy body. In regard to restarting this connection with someone in the physical dimension, so that means that it can be smooth sailing in every way. So you'll be fine to go ahead, right? And you'll be fine to like manifest a new life, and you both will come together, and you both feel so good that you're gonna, I don't know how much visually you're gonna regress time. It's unlimited, they say. I don't, physically regress time. It's unlimited. So it's the reversal of everything that could have been harming you for all the time that you're in separation. Definitely it can be physical, in terms of how you look. And what's really interesting in that is they told me all this years ago, right? So I felt it come through and I knew it, but I didn't have an explanation of how or why or when or what that was really about. And it feels like they've kind of answered that question now, because it's just such a purely energetic thing. And when you see, law of attraction is about what you believe in. So, and this is what's really interesting that they told me this morning, is that how not only, well, how do you put this? Let's just talk about the human race as a whole. So the human race as a whole is evolving, and it's now past the point of operating from ego, the Atlantean energy. We're moving into the Lemurian energy, where you're manifesting through pure belief. So people's belief as they expand around what is possible in the physical world changes what is possible in the physical world. And we've got not just this whole twin flame thing, and people talking about this, and people talking about energy in general, or people doing any kind of psychic reading or any kind of mediumship or any kind of tapping into energy and what's true. But we've also got scientists looking at quantum physics, and where the scientists are respected through a logical perspective, this information that they're starting to put out about the quantum universe is meaning more people that read that information are coming on board with belief of it. So we are changing what's possible in the physical environment, and we're changing the parameters of it's possible to manifest in terms of our physical lives, and we're bringing in new beliefs and new programs to allow us to do that. And one of the really interesting things is what they did to me last year, where they brought me into the awareness of autophagy and recycling old cells and renewing your physical body by reversing the aging process, by renewing these old cells, growing new stem cells, and that's done through something. Well, actually, it's done vibrationally by believing in it, but we have now a process in the physical world that we can use as we can have a belief in that ties us to that energetic process, and that is the process of autophagy, which is done through various things, including cutting down your eating window, cutting down the amount of different foods you eat, changing the foods you eat, and fasting for longer term, and things like saunas and cold therapy, cold showers, and different forms of exercise. HIIT, for example, HIIT routines can also promote autophagy. Drinking coffee, funnily enough, eating peanuts, which even through my whole healing not my whole healing, I would say the half of the healing this year, where I was guided to stop eating so much carbohydrates, reverse my insulin resistance, and cut out all toxic seed oils like sunflower, safflower, any of those things. The one thing they had me eating at the beginning of through this year is peanuts, and those peanuts are cooked in. I just buy the regular salted peanuts in the packets, cooked in rapeseed oil, so that's actually one of those toxic oils, and the way they process it is toxic. But I've still been allowed to eat those because obviously then the benefit of the peanut is more than the detriment of the oil. So I don't know. That's just what they made me do. But anyway, there's all these things now that are just showing that we can reverse the aging process. So it's like it's becoming true. So we can. So there's modalities that allow people to hook into that belief and then do that. And the things that I've read as well that I came across when I was going through this healing, that were touch and go. It's like you can read it and you're like, nah, nah. Right. One of them was somebody saying how they changed their hair colour from grey back to their original colour, which I haven't done, funnily enough. I didn't believe they did it, and therefore I haven't done it, but they said they did. Another person doing all this autophagy and like the resistance training and the turning back the cellular body with their wife, said their wife got her periods back later in life, and that's really interesting because I'm not even concerned about that because I've had dibble-dabbled with the thought of having a child, but it's never been like one of my main things. But for a lot of people it is. It's the main thing, and as they get older they feel that they're losing that ability and it's going to be not something they can do. Of course there's always alternatives like adoption and fostering and all that kind of stuff, or getting a pet even and sharing that love there if you're so inclined. But what my guides are telling me is that is entirely possible, that you can reverse the aging process so much that you will bring back your monthly cycle. Obviously, why not? Everything's vibrational and we can do anything if we believe we can do it. So for a lot of people out there that are going through this twin flame process, that are losing that belief that they'll ever have a child with the person they love, that's not true. Because as we speak, you are reversing your aging process through the process that you're going through. That's the twin flame process. So that's another thing that they told me yesterday. And honestly, they're bringing in a lot of information, but it just, that's everything so far. So the recreation of your motherboard, getting it ready to light up like you've just hit the jackpot, pot, 777, hitting all the sevens. Or sevens are about belief as well. Sevens are about new things, renewing things. Just getting ready for that. The renewal, basically. The other thing, the bloated belly, the pregnancy. So if you're feeling that, if you're feeling any of this, and if you've got that bloated belly going on, that is you're pregnant with your reunion, basically. And I think I said that before. So you've got to put your feet up and rest, right? When you're being guided to do that. I mean, I know this week I was like, because it'd be like about around 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I really like, but I've got these things to do. I want to get these things done. I hate being inactive, you know, and I'd much prefer moving around. And I feel good when I'm doing that. But of course, you've got to feel good no matter what. But they're just like, you've got to take yourself out. So I had to go just like being ill, basically, like being pregnant, like getting ready to give birth. Go put your feet up, go lie down, reduce all the resistance, because it's not actual, when you get to this end of the process, it's not actual resistance anymore. It's about just renewing everything. So all the resistance has gone. Everything that was is gone. This is just getting the new, what you could call it, the new template, finally. Just everything coming online, you know. You could call it the new program. Once all the resistance is gone, because the resistance is the ego. It is getting, you know, the resistance of the ego has gone. So all ability, all disbelief has gone. So it means that you have the ability to believe everything is energetic and therefore anything is possible. That's your new program. Anything that says it isn't is ego. Any of that, nah, that's not possible. That's ego. And your divine love grid. Oh, that's just reminding me of somebody I know. Is everything is possible, right? Hanging man process is jumping out. So we're going to look at the process. Let's see what I've got to say. Anything else in relation to what's come through this week? Okay, let's have a look. Devil, energetically drawing to you what is right for you. Lovers, divine love. Harmonized grid, you could say that. So it's a 6, so it's equal. Stephen's 50-50 partners, completely equal, right, energetically. Ace of Pentacles, brand new beginning in the physical world. So getting ready for a brand new beginning in the physical world. It's a divine love made manifest, though. So it's not just any old thing in the physical world. It can't be egoic. It will never be egoic, right? It's never going to come from that. It's never going to come from like trying to justify or reason or you know, make it something that it isn't. Make it something that's like lower vibrational. It's never going to come from that. It's only ever going to come from letting go and allowing the process to continue through your life, basically, and understanding that the whole of your life and everything that you're going through is that process, right? And then it's like, even, you know, it's just letting go of yourself within that process and taking time out and putting your feet up and lying down because you're that process. Guided by spirit, everything is guided. So nothing is ever wrong. Everything is exactly how it's meant to be. The pain is meant to be there. It's fulfilling the destiny. And that's emotional, mental, and physical. Chariot, masculine and feminine coming together for lessons, number 7. It reduces to a 7. Oh no, actually it is a number 7, major arcana. 10 of Wands, it's the ending energetically of your process, but what is that ending of the process? It's the expansion. The expansion is the recreation of your motherboard, your light body, your grid. You are a grid, right? Energetically, you're a grid. You're a series of light points. So it's getting you ready it's expanding you into what you're going to be. So you'll feel it coming through your physical body, your emotions, and your mind, and your head. And it'll feel like, you know, all these things. all coming on board at once. So like a lot of pain coming through, but that pain is recreating you and you so that you're ready for what's coming through. So it's the same thing. They just said it all. Knight of Pentacles, healing everything physically. So did I just mention that? This is opposite Ace of Pentacles, which is brand new in the physical world, right? Knight of Pentacles, healing. So you're being healed, essentially. Everything that you've ever had that's wrong with you, that was an illness or an injury or a pain or anything like that that you encountered through your process. Because through the process you're encountering a lot of dark energy. So I remember once I was on my bicycle and I was waiting at the lights to cross the road on my bicycle. So I was waiting for all the cars to stop, and the lights hit red, so the car should have stopped. And I set off on my bicycle, and this car came out of nowhere and narrowly missed me. And as it came along, it felt like I was being pulled backwards. My friend Graham, who's deceased, was pulling me backwards, and it pulled me off my bicycle so that the car didn't hit me. But I ended up landing on the back of my head in a woolly hat, and it really did in like the back of my neck. I got whiplash or whatever they call it, which still get repercussions of that. That's one of the things that was coming through yesterday. The repercussion of that up the back of my neck and up into the base of my skull feels like tightness. So all that was coming up last night. So it's like everything that you've encountered that's part of that dark energy that you're going through, that's part of the matrix, right? Which is where you're in negativity because you're going through this twin flame process. Therefore, you're manifesting negatively and you're encountering that in the physical world. You are clearing and healing everything, any detriment that's happened to your physical body. So you're going to be brand new, ready for the divine union to come in the physical, mainly because this divine love is about sex, right? And it's about the pleasure of the physical body. So you can imagine if you've got something in your physical body that's going to be a barrier to you having that sexual union, that's got to be cleared and will be cleared, because you're going to have this divine love sex. And this is like the sex that, if you want to talk about it in a physical dimension way, like really, really healthy young people would have. Not people with aches and pains or people with, lost libido or anything like that. So it's also healing anything like, because, you've got to remember the twins getting older, particularly male twins, actual male twins. As you get older, they lose they lose their sex drive a little. They're not able to have sex as many times in a day. That's one of the beliefs we've had, right? But this is clearing all of that. So actually you're going to be able to have sex like 20-year-olds again. So that's in one way that it'll be renewed, and that you'll go into, once you're in the physical reunion, you'll be able to thoroughly enjoy your physical body again, right? So renewing the physical body for the divine sex. Ace of Swords, brand new communication, and of course the communication is going to lead to that as well. Masculine and feminine coming together, lovers, brand new communication. So this is what happens, like I said, right at the last point of your, just as you're about to come into physical union again. So you're going to experience what feels like incredible pain through your physical body, incredible pain through your emotional body, and also not so much the ego, because by the time you get into this, you're going to be primarily feeling good until you're taken out, like I was, to do that inner child healing for my twin the other night, and then you will be returned to your feeling good. But the ego is always there wanting to interrupt, as in my ego coming through saying, I think I might have COVID, which I thoroughly knew from a higher perspective, which of course I haven't. Because COVID, of course, is energetic, and why would I go and get COVID? It's not in my vibration to get it, because I don't believe that. Anyway, I won't go into that. Okay, hit upon loads more ego if we go into that, right? 10 of Cups. This is happy, healthy relationship, and it's completion in relationship, right? Drawing to you energetically through the devil, masculine and feminine coming together for lessons, happy relationship. And what is a happy relationship? Happy relationship is devoid of all ego. So happy relationship is pretty much like nothingness, and it's a feeling of freedom, and it's the essence of freedom. So it's none of the, we've talked about it so many times before, like the lower echelon of what a relationship is, which is all the nagging, right? And the prodding and the poking at that person that you're in relationship with, as though they're in charge of making you feel good. Because you're always in charge of your own feeling good, and the only way you can feel good is to detach from other people, right? And detaching without gritting your teeth and detaching, like, that's getting on my nerves, but I'm not going to say anything. Because when you do that, it's just building up to boiling point where it's even worse when you let it all out, right? The detachment that you go through in this whole divine love spectrum is a detachment of anybody being responsible for anything in your feeling good, right? And then there's only laughter and joy between you, and openness, right? And anyway, it doesn't matter, because those things that somebody would do that would irritate you are not going to happen anyway, because you're clearing the way for none of that to even be there in place of that, in that location, because you're renewing your motherboard, right? So you're just getting yourself ready for something that's brand new, that's not egoic, that is coming from you feeling good. It's going to be the representation of feeling good in both of you feeling good, and it's going to be completely easy and free. 8 of Cups underneath, which is love coming back. It's the 8, so it's the infinity and it's emotion. It's love, basically. Love coming back, masculine and feminine, and infinity and a healing. 8 is healing, so in a healed way, and for the healing of humanity, basically, because that's the higher echelon of what divine love is about. It's not a personal thing, so it's not that's even less egoic and further removed from what could be egoic. Okay, so I'm just going to put one more down on all of these, see if anything else comes out. Vibration, 4 of Wands, so it's all about harmonised vibration. Okay, anything else? We know that already. 4 of Wands, justice, everything being right. This is also the time of Libra. Underline everything. Love come back, time of Libra. Well, let's wait and see, because they said the 17th, so I don't know. I only know what they told me. I don't know what it means, really. Okay. Let's have a look at everything else. Let's go on the Devil. Relationship. Hierophant. So drawing to your relationship of a higher nature. Hierophant is higher nature. So a relationship that is corresponding to your higher self. Divine love. Let's go on the 10 of Cups down here. 5 of Wands. Changing in vibration. So this is the motherboard changing, right? It's energetic. Wands. 5, change. All change. It's disharmony. So it's disharmony energetically. So what's coming through your physical body is that disharmony energetically. Things can't change unless they become, it all starts kicking off, basically. That's the card of things kicking off energetically that brings in the happy relationship. Ace of Pentacles, brand new beginning from higher self. It's just purifying. Whole process is about purifying and coming into this broader spectrum of higher self manifest into the physical world, that then is reflected in a relationship of higher manifestation into the physical world that just continues to operate along those lines. Let me just check this is still running. Yeah. Okay, next. Let's go on the Lovers. 6 of Swords, letting go. So what you let go of comes back to you. In terms of all of this, you've got to let go of it all. And what you need to let go of inside of yourself, you know what you need to let go of inside of yourself is any disbelief around anything that would conclude that you're going to have a happy life, basically. The ego always operating against what is divinity, right? So it's always going to be saying that can't happen because of this, because it's not logical or rational that could happen, because this is like this and this is like this. So it looks at the physical world and it sees it as solid and real and unmutable, and it's completely mutable, the physical world. So it can change, it can turn on the head of a dime, and it turns on belief, right? So you change your belief and you let go, and you just know things are coming for you when it's time for it to come for you, when you're ready for it, and you just take that belief on board, and then you let go of everything else. That's all you got to do. You've got to let go of any antithesis or any antagonism inside of you against what is pure energy. Ace of Swords result in the physical, brand new communication in the physical. It's coming from letting go. And partly that letting go will be organised, guided by spirit. But it's like you're 50-50, right? You're here 50-50. You're 50 ego, you're 50 higher self. So you've got to meet spirit halfway and you've got to let go as they tell you to let go. Move into a new frame of reference, basically, energetic. Page of Wands, just judgment coming on that. Judgment is destiny. So guided towards your destiny. Everything is part of your destiny. Everything that shows up in your physical life, everything is meant to be. It's how you are in relation to the things that show up in your physical life. Right, and again, it's 50-50 because you're in operation with somebody else who's manifesting to a physical life. So, for example, these clearing of feelings of fear and anxiety that I keep repeatedly hitting upon in my physical life, they're not mine. When I'm feeling good and I'm on my own and I'm not doing any of this work, this process, I feel absolutely fine. I have no fear and anxiety, and I laugh at fear. And then suddenly I'm guided into like getting up at 3 in the morning, doing my taxes in the middle of the night in a half consciousness, so that I can experience some fear and anxiety the next day. You know, it's just literally that's how it is. Everything is guided because I'm clearing that fear and anxiety from the one that's got to reconnect from me, which is exactly what you're doing at all times. If it's not yours, it's theirs, right? It doesn't matter whose it is, really. It's just the fact that you're clearing it. So it doesn't matter that you have to know if it's theirs. You will come to know which is yours and which is theirs, because once you're fully feeling good and you're fully harmonized inside yourself, and these things just come out of the blue and take you out of yourself, right, to do this work, then you'll know that it's not, it's them. And even more than it's them, it's divine reunion. Like, I know this week, these things that have happened, these are like the last vestiges of what we're doing. These things like the childhood crying, the expansion of that, and the taxes. These are highly unusual things that I'm experiencing that are beyond even me and him. This is, like I say, it's a recreation of a new motherboard. Like the last point of that, right? So the next thing that comes after this is all the lights going on and all the bells ringing and the jackpot. 777. 7. Right? All kicking off. 10 of Wands. King of Wands. Masculine vibration. So it's the expansion of vibration into the masculine vibration. Let's see what this is down here. Oh, we didn't go here, did we? Doesn't matter. Knight of Pentacles. Healing. Good. Sun. So everything is coming good on healing. You are renewed from higher self. Brand new beginning, physical world, higher self, high priestess. And one more on here on the process that came out right at the beginning, the Hanged Man. Go with the flow. Queen of Cups, just go with the flow. All right. So wherever you're at in your process, just know that your process is getting you there. There's nothing really for you to do apart from let go. Let go of what doesn't feel good and find feeling good in reflection to everything that is going on in your physical life. Right, so even like, you know, it's like, for example, just to say this week, like where I've been feeling like absolute shit and worn out and not being able to do anything, and all this pain coming through. And yes, it's been highly uncomfortable. And would I prefer for it to not be there? In a way, yeah, I guess so, because it feels so awful. And then I've got my little ego chiming in, trying to make me think I've got COVID. But do I feel... Oh, look at that. Do I feel bad? No. I feel exhausted and physically worn out, but that's inevitable, right? I feel really good. I feel really happy. I feel really high. I'm not worried that I've got COVID because I know I haven't got COVID and there's nothing to worry about that. So, Knight of Cups. And what's coming next is love, right? So actually I'm feeling pretty excited, despite the fact that I'm feeling knackered and worn out. So what does that tell you about the whole process? The whole process you should feel completely excited, because of what you're going through is getting to where you're going to be devoid of all ego, Ten of Swords, ending in the mind, where love is going to be coming towards you from outside of yourself, where you get the final payoff of everything that you've been going through. So there's never anything to worry about, or anything to really be confused about, or anything to think negatively about. And if you find yourself thinking negatively, then what there is to do is to let go of it. Ace of Swords again, brand new communication. So you've got to talk to yourself in a different way inside your head before you're going to get communication outside of yourself from someone else that is coming from a different place, from inside of them, right? The ego has to end in both. That's it. I think I'm going. All right, so if anybody wants a reading, I'm still doing readings. I'll be able to do them next week. And because I can do things in the morning. We'll see how it is next week. Maybe this will all have cleared. I don't know. Anyway, but I will be able to. So all that information is in the description box below. Lots of love. Take care. Bye.